I've got this sweet glove box. I didn't know I had that. You know, I'm really living large here. Welcome back to another episode of Zach Does It. In today's episode, we are going to give Mama Miata the detailed job she deserves. Now, she's 30 years old and she's starting to show her age, but I have no idea how well she's been maintained or cleaned or taken care of since she was created and since she was born. But I do know how well she's been taken care of since I bought her a couple weeks ago, which, to be honest, is not much. She's kind of sat around and put a few miles on, but we haven't really gotten to clean her off yet and see what she really looks like. So in today's episode, we are going to be detailing, we're going to be cleaning, we're going to be taking parts out and putting them back in. We are going to give Mama the attention she deserves and make sure that we know all the issues. If there's a leak in the engine bay, it's really hard to tell when there's dirt and grime everywhere. If there's a hole in the floorboard, but the roof leaks, I don't know where that water's coming from. So the goal of today's episode is to make sure that we've gone through every nook and cranny on the Miata and we found every place that may leak, that may rust, that may be broken, but primarily we are concerned with the way she looks today. In a future episode, we'll be going through the mechanicals. We'll look at the transmission, the engine, the diff, spark plugs, brakes, suspension, you name it. If it moves or it has something to do with putting power on the road, we'll look at that in a future episode. But for today, we are just going to look at the cosmetics. We want to know how good she looks when she's clean, when she's taken care of. So we'll start with the inside, we'll vacuum all the carpet, we'll scrub it down, we'll make sure that all the dirt and grime and grease that's built up over the past 30 years is completely removed. After that, we'll be able to dive into deeper work like mechanical work, performance improvements, swapping out parts for something better. All of that stuff will be so much easier when we know that she's clean and she doesn't have any other problems. Okay, so Miatas weren't blessed with very large trunks. In fact, they're pretty small. So small you might as well not even have one, I think, in most cases. But anyways, we do have a trunk and you can fit a surprising amount of stuff in it. In fact, they claim you can fit a golf bag without the driver. I believe it if it's a junior set, but I digress. We do have an absolute gold mine of junk in here. This trunk is full of it, in fact. But we have everything from various belts to an original OEM radio. We've got some 10 weight 30 oil. It looks like maybe it was burning oil and they put the heavier winter weight in there. So hopefully we can go to something like 5 winter. That's really what the goal is with the OEM stuff. We've got some extra gaskets. Have no idea if these are good or not. I mean, they're not open. Well, kind of open. We've got plenty of microfiber claws that we'll get rid of. We've got some carpeting. It's really just a messy trunk. And ultimately, if we want this to be a road trip car, we need somewhere to put our suitcase because it's certainly not going up front with us. So we'll be cleaning this out. We'll take everything we can out. We're gonna clean it. I've seen a variety of carpet liners on Moss Miata and a variety of other websites. So hopefully we'll get like a nice carpeted interior back here. That way when we do put our nice things in here, we don't have to worry about them getting all rusty and gross and dirty. But we're gonna be giving this trunk a little bit of attention. Pro tip, I was just trying to get the bumper off and I had no idea that there were some extra screws under here. So pro tip, there's some in the wheel well here. Actually, that right there is where one of them goes and the other one goes further back in there. But anyways, ignore the rust, don't mind any of that. these are the remaining screws to take care of. So before you go trying to rip your bumper off, don't forget to take those off. Okay, so the inside of the car. I'm probably gonna spend most of my time here, or maybe underneath the car. I'll probably spend a lot of time under there too, fixing things. But realistically, when I'm driving somewhere, when I'm on one of those long road trips that I talked about, I'm gonna be spending hours and hours and hours racking up the miles in this interior. And really, you know, it's not bad, but it's definitely showing its age. There's cracks all along the dash. The shift boot is torn and well worn. There's a crack in the center console. I'm missing the insert where the ashtray or cup holders go. I don't have cup holders actually, so that's another big point. Things like the glove box, there's a gap, they're loose. They just sit there and they make noise when I drive on the highway. The visors themselves, they're small. The mirror is full of gunk and crust, and it's actually kind of gross. I have no idea if that actually will still work as a mirror when we're done with it. We'll try to clean it. We will try. She does have 208,000 miles on her. And for a 90s car, a 30-year-old car, it looks really good in here. Most of the interior has been well taken care of, which I'm really excited about. It means that when I start vacuuming the carpet or I take the seats out, I'm hoping I don't find any crazy surprises. So far, most of the surprises are actually car refresheners and water bottles and old maintenance records that I have no idea when they're from or where they're from or what was being done. So we're gonna clean all this out and we're gonna have a much more comfortable place to sit when we're on those long rides. I've got this sweet cigarette lighter full of additional broken plastic and trim. More change. I actually have the cigarette plug. That's exciting. I didn't know I had that. Some screws. I got a paper clip. You know, I'm really living large here. There's so many cool features that I've yet to uncover just because I haven't gotten underneath all the nooks and crannies. Y'all thought I was joking when I said we were gonna turn this car inside out. I mean, we're maybe halfway through. I'd say we're making pretty good headway on the interior. The carpet's getting clean. Actually, the rain sill looked really good. We'll show that in a little bit when we clean all the parts up. But overall, the teardown it's going pretty good. In fact, I would say the interior, I think I should have expected this, but the interior's better than the trunk. So we've got that going for us. We're not gonna be taking the dash out. We're not gonna be taking the dash out. We're not gonna be taking the dash out. Okay, so status update. Where are we in the teardown? Well, as you can see, the entire dash is out. Got the steering column taken care of, the carpet's out, the padding is out. It wasn't really recoverable, so we're probably gonna have to buy some more of that. Carpet itself may be salvageable, although now that I have it all out, I may just want to buy a new one. Definitely costs money though, so gotta consider that. But yeah, this is what we're working with. You know, one of the things that I was thinking about as I was digging deeper is how much I found as I was diving into this. You know, it's on the surface, it looked like a pretty good car. To be fair, it still looks like a really good car, but just the few things I've broken along the way, you know, the good news is that the dash was broken to begin with. So when I broke it more, taking it out, that was fine. Same thing with the instrument panel shroud, that broke as well. What else broke? Managed to break my rear finish panel, so got to get a new one of those, and they're sold in black. So I'm gonna have a red car with a black finish panel. What else? Oh, we had to cut some hoses because they were basically glued to the copper pipes. So to not break the copper pipes, because I don't feel like doing an NB heating core swap at the moment, I had to cut them off. So got to get some new hoses for that. That's mostly it. Yeah, things are looking pretty clean. No holes where I don't expect them. No rust where I didn't expect it. For the most part, you know, the interior is in fact rust-free. So yeah, I'd say we got a pretty good body on our hands. Next steps are to finish removing a few odds and ends and panels. Some of the bare metal I might end up just painting, just to protect it. That way it'll have a nicer finish too. So it'll be a little bit easier to spot problems on nice paint as opposed to some bare metal with a bunch of corrosion over the years. So we'll do that, and then we're pretty much done for disassembly. It's gonna be time to get under the car in the engine bay to clean it out, and that should be the last part of our journey. I will mention real quick that I have a window crank assembly for the passenger side door on the way. So when that arrives, we'll look at taking apart the door panel. I'm running out of space, so I don't feel like taking that off until we're ready to actually repair that door and that window. Plus we're in a garage, so I don't have to worry about the rain or the snow, the sleet, any kind of moisture getting in. So it's okay that it doesn't work for now. We'll make do. That's really about it. We're in it now, boys. There's turning back. We'd have to put it all back together, but I'd say at this point, if we just put it all back together, it'd be in worse shape than when we found it. So we certainly need to truck ahead, buy some replacement parts, some new pieces, and then we should be left with a very, very comfortable, very cozy, maybe soundproofed interior. And then we'll be able to focus most of our efforts on the exterior, and we hopefully won't have to do this again. This was a hell of a process getting the dash out, especially for one person. Definitely don't recommend doing this by yourself if you can help it, because you'll definitely break that dash panel. That plastic is old and flimsy and weak. So unless you're planning on already replacing it, I would highly recommend getting some help and just taking your time. Just take as much time as you can, and hopefully you won't break yours. Where does that leave us? We're just gonna take some panels off. We're going to finish removing anything that should be taken out of this inside, although there's not much left. And then we're gonna jack the car up and get into that engine bay with some degreaser, and hopefully the engine bay is just like the rest of the car. All right, future Zach here with an update. It actually took me longer to take the interior and the dash and carpet and all that stuff out than I was expecting, and coincidentally, it also took a lot longer to check out the engine bay just from the cosmetic perspective. There's actually a ton of built up grease, a couple other surprises under there, and I think at this point the video is long enough. We're gonna cut it here. In the next episode, I will of course be diving into that engine bay. We'll get it clean, or at least as clean as we could, and after that, hopefully we'll move on to some mechanicals. We'll be able to actually clean all the stuff that came out. We did a vacuuming of the carpet, but knowing what I know now, that was definitely not enough. So we take an upholstery cleaner to things like that, and we really go the extra mile to make sure that we're cleaning everything we can and restoring as much as we can so that we get that factory fresh feel. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're enjoying the journey so far, or if maybe you broke your own dash while taking it out, leave a comment below. Let me know what your journey is. And if you want to know when the next episode comes out, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification. You'll know exactly when they launch. Thursday mornings, 9 a.m. That's pretty much it for this episode. It's been a blast. I'm excited to get things put back together, and I think we've got a really good thing on our hands. So I'll see you later.